Hey guys, this is Nomiki Konst. We are here outside of Uber's offices in Long Island City, New York, where so many different groups have come together in support of taxi workers, Uber workers, all in response to Uber's executives supporting Donald Trump and the money, of course, that goes to Uber. The investing in Uber, of course, does not help a lot of these workers who come from the countries that have been banned with Donald Trump's executive order. We are lucky to have New York State Senator Mike Gianaris here. He's Deputy Minority Leader of the New York State Senate. So what are you feeling here in response to Uber's policies?
Look, a lot of us since Election Day have been feeling the energy on the streets from the people who've risen up, and the great thing about today is that we're seeing results. To have the Uber CEO step down from Trump's advisory council just as we're about to protest in front of their headquarters shows that when people take to the streets, things can happen. We just have to keep this energy up for the next 4 years and then turn that into results at the ballot box and through government policy, and that's what we intend to do.
Did you see any policies moving forward in New York State, a democratically controlled, for the most part, state? Do you see any policies that would affect these types of executive orders that could protect New Yorkers?
Well, it's funny, you giggle because you know the story, but in New York State, especially in the Senate, we have a group of Democrats that are teaming up with Republicans who are Trump supporters. So just this past week, we tried to force a vote on my bill to say the Port Authority should not participate in enforcing the executive order at JFK. We weren't able to get a real vote on it because the Republicans, even though they're a minority of the Senate, are able to stop real votes from happening on the floor of the Senate. So we have a job to do as Democrats to get ourselves together, work together, stop enabling Republicans, and stand united as an opposition, as the resistance, as we call ourselves, the Senate Democratic Conference, because the next 4 years is going to be the story of standing up, taking to the streets, and beating back this backwards movement coming out of Washington.
You do mention the IDC, which is, for our viewers, very politically engaged, really tapped into what's happening at the local level. But for those of our viewers who are not in New York, can you explain what that is and why that makes a big difference?
Yeah, the state Senate has a majority of Democrats in the body, 32 Democrats, 31 Republicans. But there's a group of Democrats that decided to go give the Republicans the majority and vote with them, even though most of the Senate is Democratic. And in this climate, it's outrageous they're doing it. They all get their committee chairmanships and the perks that come with that decision, but they've disempowered us from achieving the things we want to achieve. We want to be able to protect women's reproductive health. We can't get a vote on that. We want to change the ethics laws in New York State. We can't get a vote on that. We want to stand up and resist what's coming out of Washington, whether it's an assault on LGBT rights or assault on immigrants or assault on Latinos, or the list goes on, as you know. But we continue to run into roadblocks because the Republicans have a bigger say than they should, and that's because Democrats are not sticking together.
You're a Democratic leader. Do you think that they'll be challenged this election?
From what we're seeing, it seems that challenges are coming from the ground up. There's a lot of organizing going on. We keep encouraging people to take this energy you see here, take the energy that's on the streets, take the energy that was at JFK this past weekend, and turn it into political activism. So we're getting a sense that it's happening now. The elections are next year, so people have to keep this up for a year and a half or so. But we really need to get out there at the ballot box, make sure that we assert ourselves, and for Democrats that don't want to cooperate, they should face the consequences.
Looking at this crowd right now, you have a lot of taxi workers and drivers from different descents. Have you heard of any cases where they haven't been able to get home or go home, or their families are being held up?
As a result of the executive order, you mean? We're still receiving complaints in the office about that. Some of the information is not forthcoming because it's very difficult to get information out of what's coming out of the airports right now. So we're trying very hard to see it. I don't know if anyone particularly here or part of the Drivers Alliance is subject to that, but certainly it wouldn't be surprising because many of these drivers are from the countries that are the subject of the executive order. If it's not them, it's certainly someone in this community because we have over 100 languages spoken here in this part of Queens, including people from all corners of the world. So everyone is affected by this, especially people in New York, especially people in Queens, and that's why we're fighting so hard to reverse it.
And just to be clear, a lot of the drivers are based here, the headquarters, the offices for the taxis and Uber. That's right?
Yeah, we're standing in front of Uber's headquarters here in Long Island City, but a lot of the drivers themselves live in this community. We have a very diverse community with a lot of people from the Middle East, a lot of people from South Asia, a lot of people from everywhere, really. But we have a strong middle-class community, which is where a lot of the drivers of Uber as well as regular taxis come from, and so we work our best to represent them.
Thank you very much, Senator.
Thanks very much, Nomiki.